Police searching for the person who walked into a Summerlin fast food restaurant and opened fire.
A man was killed and a cashier was injured inside the store at Town Center and Charleston. Joe Mueller, they're live now with what we know so far, Joe.
Oh, Brian, this is normally a pretty busy Teriyaki Madness location, but take a live look here this evening. Lights are off, door is shut, and the note is on the window there telling everybody it's going to be closed for a few days after that shooting left one person dead and another injured. Now, many people who come here still have a lot of questions.
I've been here 8 years. This is the first something like this has happened.
Metro.
Okay, our first clue. This guy says he's been there 8 years. Going to this restaurant for 8 years. And this is the first time something like this has happened. Now, we know he's not there every day. So this is a piece of anecdotal evidence. But it does let me know that the person who probably did this isn't probably part of the regular crowd that frequents this place.
Many people who come here still have a lot of questions.
I've been here 8 years. This is the first something like this has happened.
Metro says the shooting was a targeted incident. The shooter allegedly followed a 40-year-old man inside and opened fire. A female employee who was a cashier was also injured. The shooter got...
So we have another clue. Clue number 2. It was targeted. But that's not the real clue. The cashier was hit. So we're dealing with someone with poor trigger discipline. A reckless shooter.
A female employee who was a cashier was also injured. The shooter allegedly followed a 40-year-old man inside and opened fire. A female employee who was a cashier was also injured. The shooter got away and is still on the run. Now, many people who come here are concerned.
It's scary. It's happening a little bit more and more, and hopefully it stops because Summerlin really isn't known for that.
A note is now...
More anecdotal evidence. It's scary. It's happening more and more. Summerlin is really not like that.
It's scary. It's happening a little bit more and more, and hopefully it stops because Summerlin really isn't known for that.
A note is now on the door stating they will be closed for a few more days. This note also expresses condolences to that employee and the victim in this shooting. Now, police don't have much information to provide us. They didn't provide much of a description, so if you were out here and saw anything that may help...
So there's no description. So if I'm a resident of Las Vegas, and I want to assist the police department, you know they always say, we need community to help, right? Don't they always say that? Well, if you need the community to help us help you. And the fact that they're not giving us a description and all the little pieces of anecdotal evidence that I've shown you guys, it's starting to make me think that there's a reason. There's a group that they don't want to, piss off. There's a reason they're not giving us the ID on this group, because it would be so simple. I mean, if he was a glider, you see the way the news is, like, they throw that around all the time. If it was an hombrito, just tell us. I'm betting dollars to donuts right now from the way the people were talking, because these West Coast libs, they tell you these things in code. You have to be able to, and listen, I understand you guys don't get that code because I'm 7,000 videos in doing this stuff. raised in Washington, D.C. So you're talking about somebody who has heard a lot of liberal lib-splaining, liberal code talk. Whenever they talk about things are different or it's changing or that doesn't usually happen around here, well, they're not lying if they're talking about their areas, but they're also omitting the description, but they're giving you the description at the same time. That doesn't happen over here. It's changing. It's not really like that over here. This is happening more and more.
To provide us, they didn't provide much of a description, so if you were out here and saw anything that may help lead to an arrest, they're asking you to give them a call. Reporting live in Summerlin this evening, Joe Moeller, live, local now.
Brewing at this Frisch's restaurant on Bridgetown Road.
There's 2 people in here fighting.
The sign outside advertises fresh and fun, but on November 8th, police say things took a sour, angry turn. Cheviot police say 38-year-old ex-employee Lauren Ward allegedly waited for the victim employee to come to work, started yelling, and as a manager tried to step between the two, Ward threw a cup of scalding hot coffee at the victim employee. Police say Ward also gouged the victim employee's left eye.
Okay, so wow. A lot of violence in just a short burst, like just a burst. A burst of violence. Wow.
Old ex-employee Lauren Ward allegedly waited for the victim employee to come to work, started yelling, and as a manager tried to step between the two, Ward threw a cup of scalding hot coffee at the victim employee. Police say Ward also gouged the victim employee's left eye.
The one threw coffee at the other one. I don't think she got hit.
Is anyone injured or burned?
Cheviot police say the 58-year-old victim employee was burned. According to a report, the
The 28-year-old woman threw hot coffee on a 8-year-old woman. Maybe the 58-year-old was the manager. I don't know. They said she was employed, though. They would have said she was a manager if they so employed. Did she get her fired? Did she think she got her fired? Did she say something that she didn't like? I don't know. That's just a burst of violence. Like, to throw scalding hot coffee on somebody and gouge their eye out, it's just, it's a lot. That's why I tell you guys, like, it's not the gun. Okay? It's not the gun. The gun is an object used to perpetuate violence, to inflict violence. But you could use anything. There was a heck of a lot of violence on this planet before the invention of the gun. Or before guns were introduced to certain cultures that didn't have them.
According to a report, the roasting coffee splashed all over the victim's chest, face, and eyes. Then,
The person that did that, are they still there? Are they leaving?
She just left.
investigators say Ward went to her apartment before officers arrived, and no one would answer the door. Meanwhile, others comforted the victim employee.
She's having trouble seeing out of her eye.
The person that did that, are they still there? Are they leaving?
She just left.
Investigators say Ward went to her apartment before officers arrived, and no one would answer the door. Meanwhile, others comforted the victim employee.
She's having trouble seeing out of her eye. They're coming, hon. I got an ambulance coming and the police are coming.
Police say the victim employee was taken to UC Medical Center for burns to her face, a gouged left eye, and coffee possibly in her eyes. Now, Ward's bond is set at $5,000. The case heads to a grand jury.
So this woman gets to get out of jail for $500 after a premeditated attack in which she poured scalding hot coffee on a woman's face and gouged her eye out with some other instrument or her fingers or something. Left the scene. Cops show at her house. She won't open the door. Just think about how many resources that took. The ambulance, the cops responding to the scene, the cops going to her house, the cops finally catching up with her. That's got to be at least $5,000 in resources that cost the city just to engage this one incident. And she gets out of jail for $500, which I don't have a problem with, because you guys asked for this. Still, my point is just like, where's the racism? Where's the, what needs to be reformed about this? Like, what do we need to do better? How we as a country need to come together and do better to make things better for this woman in her experience in the criminal justice system. Just asking for a friend.
Now, Ward's bond is set at $5,000. The case heads to a grand jury on December 1st. We were able to speak with the manager at the Frisch's location who told us that the victim apparently is okay. I also spoke to a man who said that he was her son, who told me that she is doing okay. So far, though, we have not been able to talk directly to the victim. We're live downtown at the Hamilton County Jail. Dan Griffin, WLWT News 5.